Hello and welcome to another segment of People with Peoples. I'm Cody Kirschbaum from Peoples State Bank, and today we have an exciting segment for you. We're here today at Spring Lake Inn, owned and operated by Kyle and Angie Bodie. Kyle, thank you very much for having us today.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming.
You bet. We'll jump right in. Kyle, can you take us through a little bit of the history here of the inception of when you bought this place and kind of up through now and what has kind of happened?
Yeah, I mean, to my best knowledge, this place, and maybe Jan would know better than me or somebody else, but I think like 50s or the 60s was the first time they started turning food. It was called the Sunset back then, the Sunset Inn. Rich Shalka's parents built the original one, if I'm not mistaken. So that was back in the 50s or 60s. They had it for quite a few years. The structure changed many times over the years, I know. And then the most significant people, I guess, in this era would be Tim and Angie Hallman. And they owned it for, I think, like 15-ish years, somewhere in there, 15, 20 years. Before it changed hands one more time for 8 years, and then me and Angie bought it in 2019.
When you guys got into this, yourself and Angie, what inspired you or motivated you to get into the food hospitality industry?
I would say working for ourselves and not punching a clock anymore.
Can you talk a little bit about, Kyle, the things that you've done? You know, you say this has been going for generations, 1950, 1960. It's still standing. It's still what it was, just a little bit of updating here and there, but this is foundationally still the Spring Lake Inn, which is truly one of a kind for anywhere in the U.S. or the world for that matter. Something so original, something so important to our area, our surrounding communities. What things have you done or tailored a little different to change and put your own spin on it, to make it yourself and Angie's?
We brought barbecue to Spring Lake, and I've had quite a few people tell me that they think that I'm the only one that has had a smoker at Spring Lake. I believe that's true. Not in my lifetime has anyone smoked out here. So that was, I guess that was probably our biggest jam or thing that we were excited for, because there's none of that around here, or no barbecue that I would consider barbecue. Barbecue has a lot of different opinions on what's barbecue to some people isn't barbecue to other people. Some people think that charcoal is better than wood is better than LP, So it's a matter of opinion, but we knew right away from the get that we were going to try to do it as traditional as possible. So that's why we use a stick burner smoker. There's no fancy venting or digital thermometers or anything like that. So whether we're doing hog or ribs or brisket, most of the time it's done by look or appearance and feel.
Sure. And later we'll give you guys a little glimpse of what the setup looks like where all this takes place. But a personal attestament here is Kyle, he's endeavored into cooking whole hogs, and I've had my fair share of barbecue around the country, as I'm sure you have, and there are different kinds of barbecue, and something we don't have up here in the north is true blue, I like to call it Southern Texas style barbecue. It's very hard to find. This place exemplifies it. It resonates. You can smell the smoked food out here. I mean, if you guys could smell it, it's unbelievable. And I personally have had it, and it stacks right up there with Southern food, Southern smoked food. Traditions and families that have taken hundreds of years to perfect recipes, Kyle somehow has fast-tracked himself to put himself on that map. Again, the amount of research and work you've put in yourself, education I'm sure that you've had to attend to get to where the taste has gotten, it's unbelievable. It's truly second to none.
Thank you.
So yeah, I truly implore any and everybody to come out here, and we can take you over and give you guys a glimpse of the actual smoking area. You'll see what I mean, but just being out in this ambiance, it truly is an ambiance. It's amazing. It's relaxing. It's really well done.
Thank you.
You bet.
Angie and I didn't cross paths with People State Bank in this whole restaurant ordeal until we actually thought this could potentially be a reality, which I didn't think could be a reality until the day that it happened. Buying a business is a very lengthy process, very lengthy. And People State Bank, Michael, Higgins, Jan Waller made that process as easy as I think it probably can be. I think there's a certain amount of red tape and paperwork in a deal like that you don't avoid. And these guys made it go by without it being so bad.
And today we have with us a special treat, Jan and Michael, the loan officers for Spring Lake Inn. And now we're going to have a roundtable discussion with Angie and Kyle.
All right. If I remember right, Kyle, I think in January of 2018, I think is when I first heard from you and Angie that there was that was the infant stage of an idea. And we talked about it in really, really general and very vague terms, but the idea was planted, and the seed was planted, and through a lot of phone calls and conversations, we were doing this from a distance between different things that both of you had going on over the course of the next year and almost a half. We were able to kind of bring this to fruition, and along that way, there was some things that were going to be beneficial to Kyle and Angie in the restaurant here and People State Bank as well, and that was some SBA involvement, which Michael Higgins has got his arms around that as good as anybody that I think we know and anybody that we have. As far as competitors, I think Michael stacks up quite well on the knowledge level, the expertise, and what he brings to the table to make something like this happen.
Well, thank you, Jan. That's pretty big shoes to fill right there. But for us and the bank and the Bodies, the SBA is certainly a great partner. It allowed us to complete the deal and give them some additional working capital and get them in here and get them to do what they're doing. So definitely a excellent working relationship between the SBA, Spring Lake, and People State Bank.
I think I'll add into this segment too, as far as Angie and Kyle's ability to navigate that path. It takes a ton of patience, and it takes a lot of grit to really kind of get from point A to point B. And that's not an easy path, and we certainly weren't trying to make it difficult, but in today's world, there are several hoops and hurdles to jump through, and they did a masterful job at giving us the information that we needed to allow us to have a comfort level, and there was never a time that we would be talking that I felt any resistance to what they were able to do to make this happen. And it was it allowed us to be confident in the people that we were dealing with.
All right, so today the fellas from People State Bank are joining me in what we like to call at Spring Lake the Shack. This is where we do all the smoking. Earlier in the segment, you saw us up on the deck. That now has a name. We like to call that the live edge. We have music up there any night anyone wants to play. Amateurs, professionals, but the rule is that we don't have money to pay you. So you get paid in food and drinks and whatever we can raise in the hat, which can be good certain nights. So local performers, amateurs, professionals, acoustics, stripped down, speakers, no speakers, doesn't matter. We'll take you if you're looking for a place to play. The Shack is where I spend 80% of my time out here at Spring Lake. Smoking came about right before COVID hit. This smoker came from Barbecue Smoker Pros down in South Georgia.
How did you develop the menu?
So the menu's interesting out here at Spring Lake in that we might not be from the South, but me and Angie have traveled a lot eating barbecue. It's kind of like my thing. Whenever I go somewhere, I'm always looking for like a barbecue joint that I've never been to or a dish that I have never had. So Andy and our whole goal with Spring Lake was to keep things the same, but bring the level of everything and the quality of everything up, and the addition, add barbecue or smoked products. With that being said, Angie is a crazy sauce lady. She makes all the sauces here at Spring Lake for barbecue from scratch. Nothing is out of a can, nothing's out of a bottle. Some things have 30 ingredients, others have 5. But she makes them all, and we are proud of that. The only 2 people that smoke here are me and sous chef. His name's Roy. And outside of that, I am looking for more people. So anyone in the smoking game that would like to learn, come on out to Spring Lake, because we might have a job for you.
When are you going to smoke your next whole hog?
So today is Tuesday. I'm doing a video with People Save Bank, otherwise we would be smoking ribs right now in this shack. Tomorrow is Wednesday, and that's whole hog day. I try to smoke whole hogs on Wednesday. We do a run of ribs on Tuesdays, anywhere from 60 to 70 racks, and then again on Saturdays if need be.
You truly can't. You can't put it into a video, you can't put it into a picture unless you come out here on a Wednesday or whichever day they do the whole hog smoking, all the ribs. If you come out here and can experience it, it's an experience. It's not coming, you're not going out to eat, you're going to get an experience. One that normally you have to travel hundreds to thousands of miles away to get. We have it right here in quaint Prairie du Chien, Wisconsin. We have the umbrellas, we have the decor, we have the outdoor setting, we have the master chef, smoker, we have the barbecue sauces, none of it is store-bought. It also leads into another interesting point, and that is very unique with Spring Lake Inn. Kyle, you guys do something that is very near and dear to my heart, and that's they source beef locally. They source beef through an outfit called Lazy A Cattle Company, which is Ryan and Seth Adams. Kyle, can you delve into that a little bit and that relationship that you have with Lazy A and the Adams boys?
Yeah, so Ryan and Seth have known me, and I have known them for the better part of 30 years. Some goods, some bads over the years, but we all ended up right back here in Prairie du Chien. And about a year into owning Spring Lake, Seth Adams approached me, and he wanted to know if I wanted to try some of his beef. And I said, well, I'll try anybody's beef, Seth. Bring me some down. And he brought me 5 pounds of burger down and said that'll be 25 bucks. And I said, well, usually when you try somebody's beef, the first stuff's free because you're trying to get me to keep using it. And he looked at me and said, once you eat this beef, you won't want anything else. He was pretty spot on. These guys are turning out beef that is nothing short of A5 Wagyu on a local level. This beef is ungraded. It is processed at Eastman Locker, which is another small business right up the road. So the deal here is this is farm to table at its finest. Less than 5 miles, cows are raised, cows are processed, cows are eaten. 5-mile triangle. They raise their beef slow. That is their claim to fame, I guess you would say, if I had to pick one. I'm sure they have a lot more, but I'm not a rancher, nor am I a farmer, and don't ever call them farmers, because they are ranchers. They like to get on their horses and check their beef. They don't milk cows, they don't cash cow. So they are very, very serious about beef. I mean, these boys are on horseback daily, riding through pastures, making sure their beef are okay.
And then it truly is a home-raised operation. Home-raised meaning that the mama cows have a calf, and that calf, when it's born from that day, that stays on the farm until the day when it goes to get processed, in this case at Eastman Locker, correct?
Yep, Eastman Locker, who also does a fantastic job in this partnership. Grant and Nikki Staluka are the owners of Eastman Locker, and weirdly enough, I believe they bought Eastman Locker right around the same time we bought Spring Lake, and Lazy A Ranch was starting up. So it's a small world kind of deal. We're all about the same age. We all have a mutual respect for each other.
So as Kyle mentioned, he picked up this smoker right before COVID, so that big elephant in the room. Kyle and Angie have done a great job persevering, whether it was high water right after they bought the place, road construction, survived all of that, but then COVID hits. So a few words of wisdom, Kyle, on what you experienced during COVID and how you made it through.
The grind. That's what I called COVID. It was a year of grinding. We thought about, let me take a step back. My partner thought about closing. Is that the best option? Are we going to have more overhead than we're going to have business? We thought about that for a long time. A long time during COVID was like 2 days because things changed quickly. So we just decided that if we would close, it was like, we felt like it was quitting. So we just kept going and we'll see what happens, right? Well, it changed the entire structure of the restaurant, changed how we did business, changed how people did business here. We turned this place into a to-go phenomenon. We were not that good at to-goes right away. We just learned how to do to-go really good. That did come with some changes, less staff, a lot more money spent on things you didn't normally spend money on. I.e. plastic bags, paper bags. All these things got really hard to get. So 1 week you'd have to be okay with sending food out in a plastic bag versus a paper bag. And they changed sizes on you, which changed the way you had to load food. So it's just a daily reminder that life is different and we're doing things different now. And who cares? You still got to make money at the end of the day because I owe PSB a banknote every month. I think I got out of that during COVID for a while, which we could do that again for a while. But I'm glad to be back paying the banknote for sure. But I will say that these guys, Jan Waller, Michael Higgins, during COVID were very nice to have in our corner. These are guys that answer their phone at 10 o'clock at night. These are guys that are willing to meet you at the bank on Sunday mornings. So thank you to you two, everybody at People's State Bank for making this all possible. There were many times that I didn't think we'd still be here. So
You could only assume that when you own and operate a business, and especially a business like this, it's your livelihood, right? It's everything. There must be a great sense of respect, passion that you have to have for not only what you do, but for the people you're serving. I know a big passion of yours is craft beer, craft breweries. Can you tell us a little bit about your passion for craft breweries and what that all entails?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I guess most importantly, I like drinking beer. So many moons ago, it feels like, 15, 16 years ago, I was living in Milwaukee and the craft beer world started to blow up. Small batch stuff, single barrel stuff, one run, one off, sours, fruited, non-fruited, stouts, barrel aged, non-barrel aged. You name it, I was just kind of getting into everything to figure out what I liked. Now I feel like I like everything crafty. I will drink a barrel-aged stout and then turn around and drink a fruited sour. I like the mix-up on my palate. A lot of people are more regular. They pick a side. But the cool thing is it always boils down to where it's coming from, right? So within a very small radius of Prairie du Chien, there are what I believe are 5 or 6 of some of the coolest breweries in the nation, right? So everyone used to talk about the West Coast and they make hazy IPAs. Well, now Pulpit Rock, Textile, Oso, Toppling, Dimensional, all these guys make hazy IPAs that are score off the charts. These guys over in Iowa, like Toppling and Goliath, who's been here for a tap takeover before, and Oso in northern Wisconsin, who's been here for a tap takeover. These guys are changing the beer world, and they're using people like us to get their name out there, and we're using people like them to get our name out there. Because for some reason they think we're cooler than them, and we think they're cooler than us. I haven't quite figured out that dynamic, but I was just down in Dubuque this last weekend at Dimensional, hanging out with the guys that own that place, and they think this place is pretty great, Spring Lake. They were up here last week. We exchanged some gear, numbers. We went down a few days after they were here on Sunday, and people we'd never met before, I would consider very good friends of mine now. We talked about nothing but beer for 2.5, 3 hours. Husbands, wives, everybody was talking about beer. So that's what I want people to do when they come to Spring Lake, is ask what's on tap, expecting that it will be something different than the last time they are here, and something from a small craft brewery.